So what I would change, obviously, now being a florist and the groom. I would change the groom, by the way.
Shout out to you. I won't say your name, though.
One, it looks bad to other people. It looks dramatic.
Started you built and you sold 3 businesses.
Right.
That's.
Hi, I'm Rachel Magaro with Rachel's Runway, and today we are going to do a tutorial.
I have the pleasure, nay, the honor. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to the AI Media Wedding Roundtable Q&A. We have put together an elite team of some of the best in the DFW area. We have makeup, hair, calligraphy, wedding planning, florist, and your favorite photo and videographer. Let's go ahead and do a quick round of introductions. Who's ready to start? Who's got a... Yeah, go ahead and grab this one.
Hi guys, my name is Victoria Jameson-Krath. I'm a professional makeup artist here in DFW. I own Lippy Lovers Beauty, and I'm also a partner with AI Media, where I'm the head of their makeup department, as well as their social media director. We are going to be chatting with everyone. We have questions prepared. If you guys ask questions in the comments, you will be able to get them answered because we have someone behind the scenes helping out, and Adrian has his computer here too, so we can see your comments, and we all have our phones as well too, so we'll see them. And someone has their sound on that I can hear. Rachel. Okay, so I'll pass the baton.
Yeah, talk about Lippy Lovers.
I've been a makeup artist for 5 years. This is my 5th year in business. I also retail cosmetics and train women on how to build their businesses selling cosmetics, as well as build their business as a makeup artist. We are looking for interns and apprentices in the makeup department here at AI Media. So definitely contact me if you're interested in that. I love doing bridal makeup because it's the most fun, I think, because you get to go and be with the bridal party, and it's like having a wedding, your own wedding every weekend. Like you get to be a part of someone's wedding, and I love weddings. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm gonna pass the baton.
Hey guys, my name is Renee Odom. Oh hey, I'm like listening to myself. I'm a full service wedding planner. My company is Positively Perfect Events. I have been doing wedding planning for about 10 years. I absolutely feel blessed and humbled, and no 2 weddings are ever the same. I truly feel like a wedding should be a perfect reflection of you. There's nothing is off limits. My passion lies in design and putting together all of those small details. I truly feel like the details make the wedding. So I would love to chat with you. If you have any questions or anything, just give us a shout out.
Awesome. Ms. Rachel?
Hi. Does it matter which one?
Nope.
What am I doing?
Introduce yourself and your company.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Magaro with Rachel's Runway. I have been a hairstylist for, I think, like 4 or 5 years legally.
Legally is the key word.
Yeah, I'm also the department head of hair for AI Media. So yeah, okay, that's it, right? Intros. Great. Cool.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I work for Bouquet Designs in Keller. We are a full-service florist. We specialize in weddings and events. We also do dailies, but our bread and butter is weddings and events. You can come and see us anytime in Keller. You can come and schedule a consultation and get your flowers done. As you can see, we provide beautiful, high-quality flowers. If you give us a call or schedule a consultation, if you're looking for a big wedding event or you just have a small wedding, we don't have any minimums. If you just want a bridal bouquet and boutonnieres and bridesmaids, come on in. We'll work with you. We'll give you a great price.
Yeah, make sure you guys speak into the microphone.
I'll just scooch over a little bit. Hey y'all, I am Reagan Mladinovich. I am a professional calligrapher based in Fort Worth. My business is Reagan Hope Calligraphy. I do mainly weddings, but I also do corporate events and parties, anything like that. I mainly do stationery, like wedding envelopes. I also do day of paper, signs, and like place cards, escort cards, anything like that. So if y'all have any questions for me, just type them in the comments and we'll get rolling.
There we go. And then last but not least, most of you guys know who I am. My name is Adrian. I am the CEO of AI Media and lead photographer for Luce Photography, AI Photography, a couple different brands. I've been in the wedding industry since 2013, went full-time in 2016. Have won 3 Couples Choice Awards since 2017, 18, and 19. And yeah, I love weddings because weddings are fun. I get to drink mimosas with a whole bunch of brides and bridesmaids, and that's my favorite part. Well, with that being said, who wants the first question? Let's just start off with Ms. Reagan. Let's just start off with a just going down the line. When is the best time to book your particular service? And we'll go each person.
The best time to book calligraphy is whenever you're ordering your wedding invitations or even your save the dates. Calligraphy is something that can't be rushed. It's, it's all hand done. So calligraphers do book up far in advance. So whenever you are booking your wedding stationer or ordering your wedding invitations, that is when you want to book your calligrapher, not after you already have your invitations.
So like around like when in the wedding planning process do you think is best?
It depends on how early you order your invitations. If you're going to order them, 6 months in advance, then I would just go ahead and find a calligrapher that you want to use, reach out to them. You just need to be thinking proactively about like how you're going to address them, because it does take time. Even if you are going to hand address them, you need to factor in a couple weeks to get that done.
Great. Awesome.
So the best time to call and schedule a consultation with a florist is around, if you're having a big wedding where you're going to need lots of stuff, you're going to want to at least plan at least 6 months out. If you're looking for a specific flower, you're going to want to make sure you know what flowers are going to be in season so that you can schedule your consultation in time so that we can order those flowers. If you have a little small one, you want to give probably about 2 weeks before your wedding, and that would just be like bridal bouquet, boutonnieres, and maybe a flower crown. Anything more than that, you're going to want to try 6 months out.
So for hair, I would probably say, just because in my industry, I kind of feel that brides don't really typically think about hair. Like hair's the last thing that they even think about. But to be completely honest, I would probably book out at least like 6 months to a year. Just because, me personally, as far as just my regulars, I can be booked out anywhere from like 3 to 4 months. So with that, you definitely want to get your hair and makeup team booked along with like your photographer as well. And then as far as the trial goes, I would probably say just make sure that you have your trial at least like a month before, so that way your hair actually does look good the way you want it to. And yeah, cool.
Okay, in regards to wedding planning, this kind of can be all over the place. So once you're engaged, the best, sorry, it's not close enough. So do not start planning your wedding until you are engaged. Truly, I know there are little girls and that you've been like doing this in your head forever and ever and ever. That's totally fine. But starting the real process, after you're engaged, I tell every one of my brides, truly take some time to just enjoy being engaged. That time is different for every single person. It can be a week, it can be a month. It could be 6 months. It just depends on what pace you want to go at. You shouldn't feel rushed. If you want to get it done really quick, we can get it done super quick. But I would say the best time to book your wedding planner is before you go and scout out different venues and start contacting different other wedding professionals, because your wedding planner is gonna, we've got connections, we've got, really great people that we've been doing this for a lot of years, and we know who's good, who's not good, who's going to save you time, who's going to save you money.
We're all
Us, all of us. But you really want to kind of start with wedding planning kind of before the venue. They can really save your back in, helping you ask the right questions, finding what works best for your budget, and all of those things.
As far as planning for makeup, I'm kind of with Rachel. The sooner you can get it done, the better, because it helps us plan. Now that my team is bigger, we can accommodate multiple weddings on the same day. But if you're booking with a solo artist, it can be a lot harder. Someone that you really want to book with might already be booked up a year in advance. I am already booking out into 2021 right now. So the sooner you can get it done, the better. I would say the longest you should wait is 3 months in advance. But at that point, you're really pushing it. I waited 6 weeks out to book my hairstylist. And my first choice, I didn't know her yet. My first choice was already booked, so I wasn't able to get her, and I ended up booking with someone else that was a recommendation from her, but it was a little bit stressful. So I don't recommend waiting until the last minute. And as far as a trial goes, I would do it anywhere from 2 months out. I really think would be ideal for a trial. That way you might already have your dress. And I do recommend trying to plan your hair and makeup trial for your bridal photos if you're going to be doing bridal photos. That way you have an idea of what it's going to look like in your dress. And we've had several instances where we've done a trial for a bride and then she's decided, I actually would rather have a lighter lipstick color, or I want to do a more bold eye, or I don't like these eyelashes. So we were able to kind of alter the look to make it more picture perfect for our brides.
There we go. And as far as photo videos, so for photography, obviously, if you are looking for photos of the proposal, that's obviously a good time. If you men out there are smart enough and innovative enough to book a photographer for the proposal, good on you. All the ladies are agreeing with me right now. It's better than iPhone and Android photos of like the rings and stuff like that. So get you professional for the proposal. But obviously for the majority, I'd say like 90% of couples who start looking at wedding photographers after they have started their wedding planning process, whether it's with a coordinator, planner, or what have you, usually around, I'd say like 9 months prior to your wedding day is a good time to go ahead and solidify a photographer, so that way you have enough time to do your engagement session, for the a bridal session for those who are opting to do that. And obviously, and it just depending on the photographer, depending on how busy they are, they might be booked years in advance, because I have several 2021 weddings as well. So it's just depending on that. And for video, I know that's like the newest trend, one of the biggest and actually most expensive newest trends. Those usually, a lot of brides do that last minute. But again, just like with photography, videographers get booked really quickly. So I'd recommend doing that under 6 months or somewhere around there. Something like that. But I know videography is usually an add-on, even after hair is booked as well. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and we had some questions submitted prior to us starting the roundtable. So let's pick on, let's start off with our wedding planner, because she's the one who begins it all. All right. So what is the difference between a coordinator that the venue provides versus having a dedicated full-time professional wedding planner?
So the difference between a wedding coordinator that a venue provides, the biggest difference is that wedding coordinator from the venue, they are going to be, their first priority is that venue. They're going to make sure that your guests aren't destroying their property. They're going to make sure that their food is getting out on time. They're not going to walk through the entire planning process with you. They're there truly just to kind of run your day. That being said, there's a lot of wedding venues out there now that actually require an outside planner. Those wedding venues typically they see the value in it. There's a big misconception where a lot of venues are, say you don't need a planner because we can provide you one. And that is completely true. Just know, so you can make the best decision for yourself, that wedding planner or wedding coordinator from the venue, they're not going to be there, to ask what stationery was going to work best for your ideas. They're not going to, be there for the entire, walking you through that process. They're truly going to be there to help you on that day.
Very cool. Awesome. And then let's see here. Let's go. Why don't we just go to the florist? First of all, shout out to Bouquet Designs for the beautiful runner that we have on our buffet table. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Bar, buffet table, that thing, there you go. Let's see here. So I guess, obviously we have real flowers and silk flowers. What is the difference, both cost-wise and look-wise?
Okay, so as a florist, we generally lean towards doing fresh cut flowers. Silk flowers are actually very expensive. And so when you're talking about doing silk flowers, a lot of brides would like to do silk flowers because they think, oh, it's a great DIY, and everybody gets to take them home. But you're not going to get the same look. Everybody's going to know that they're not real flowers. There's a big difference. So my suggestion would always be go fresh cut flowers. If you're looking to hold on to your wedding flowers, we also offer bouquet preservation, and we actually do that in resin. So it's not just like a little square box with some dry flowers in it. You get like a resin mold, and we can do it in any shape or any form. So that's a really awesome way to take care of your flowers. So a silk bridal bouquet is going to cost upwards of $500 to get all those silk flowers in there. Plus, being able to manipulate them is not very easy. So you're actually paying for the time that it takes to make those silk flowers. So like your run-of-the-mill bridal bouquet, a very standard bridal bouquet is going to be $100. So that's a big price difference. And when you're looking at a company that can also preserve your flowers, you're going to be saving so much money.
There we go. Awesome. Cool. We had a lot of very surprised reactions. A lot of people, a lot of ladies here. I was like, oh man, that sounds really cool. The preservation.
Yes.
Yeah. So there we go.
So we have stuff on our website. We also have an Etsy shop. It's Bouquet Designs Preserved. So you can always check us out there too.
Nice. Very cool. Victoria's looking into your own services. So there you go. Congratulations. All right, let's go to calligraphy. Let's just pass it down one. Let's see here. Michelle asked, is it just cursive? Like, is it just like your typical calligraphy, or can you do like different fonts or whatever?
Yes. So I can actually, each calligrapher kind of has their own style. So there are traditional calligraphy styles such as copperplate and Spencerian that calligraphers can do and replicate. But each calligrapher also, modern calligraphy is kind of very trendy right now. So each calligrapher has their own modern style that they do, which is why it's important to book your calligrapher early, because you might love this one calligrapher's style, but you're not going to find another calligrapher with that exact same writing as the one that you may have fell in love with. So I do offer like many different styles, and I can even like font match to like specific. Yeah, it is very time consuming, and it is pricier to font match, but that is capable, or a possibility.
There you go. Awesome. All right, now we're going to pass it all the way down here. We're going to go to makeup real quick. All right, so the question from Shelby is, do I need to have a trial?
Yes. So I've had clients in the past that didn't want to do a trial, which is why now I've altered my pricing to include a trial. That way you don't feel like you're buying two different services. You're getting the trial as part of your bridal makeup package. But in the past, when it was separate, people would say, oh, I'm not going to pay for a trial to like save money. And day of, when you get there, everyone's skin's different. Everyone does better with different products. And until I can physically see your skin and how things are going to lay on them and how products are going to last and what eye shape you have and getting your eyelashes measured so that they're easy to apply, the day of goes so much smoother and faster when I've actually already done your makeup before. In addition to that, I also use all waterproof cosmetics. So if we're there the day of and someone decides that smoky eye I just did, they just want to have a natural look, that's going to add an additional 30 to 45 minutes to change a look completely. So when we already have a plan laid out, I actually take photos and extensive notes on what I've done on my bride for a trial. That way, day of, I have exactly the products I need. I know exactly the right foundation shade. I know what I used for every single aspect of the look. So I actually end up doing my brides faster on the wedding day than I can actually do the bridesmaids since I've already done their look once.
There we go. And on that, let's go ahead and pass it over to hair. I totally lost your question. How how long does bridal hair take as a bride planning out her itinerary for the wedding day?
So for the wedding day, well, usually what I would say is I would book out a bride at least an hour. Then that way when we go for the trial, like I said, it's booked for an hour, but the day of, it might cut down to 45 minutes. But definitely keep it at an hour for planning purposes. And then as far as bridesmaids go, I would say about 45 minutes for each bridesmaid.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, I guess I will take a photography question. This question is, what are the current color trends in editing? First of all, professionally speaking, as someone who believes that wedding photos should be timeless, when selecting your wedding photographer, as awesome as it may seem, and as many likes as you will get on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever, Facebook, whatever you're on, keep in mind that trends are exactly that. Trends, right? If in my professional opinion, it is best to find a photographer who shoots naturally, exposure and all that stuff. I mean, that can be something that you can discuss with your wedding photographer, but honestly, all the moody and the dark and the oranges and the teals of 2018 are now, no longer relevant. And I've had many of friends who, I appreciate the fact that I was invited to their wedding as a friend rather than as a photographer. Because, we're normal people too. We like to, we're not just wedding professionals 24/7. We like to party with our friends. However, some of them have come back to me and said, hey, like, I should have just, had you shoot my wedding because now I don't like how my photos look and I can't get a hold of my wedding photographer because they're no longer in business. So keeping that in mind. Let's see here. Should we do something fun? As we're kind of halfway through. Let's do something fun. Let's do wedding horror stories. Should we do most embarrassing or something tragic? I'll let y'all pick.
I can start.
All right, let's do something fun. Wedding horror stories.
So I had one time a 10 a.m. wedding on like a holiday weekend, and the hotel was not very close to the venue, and we had to start hair and makeup at 5 a.m. So keep that in mind when you're planning a morning wedding, that if you have a lot of bridesmaids, it might take a long time. And this was also a bride that opted not to have a trial, so it was a little stressful. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But it was definitely a little bit of a horror story because it was earlier in my career and I did not quite know how to handle the stress of that situation. So
yikes.
It was a little stressful.
I have one. So it's not really a horror story, but y'all were there.
Oh, are you gonna? Okay, go ahead.
Let's just say I'm so glad that hair and makeup did not get messed up during this one. But Adrian was awesome enough to capture the moment when they were all sitting on a bed, posing all nice and shout out to Alyssa.
An antique bed and breakfast, like a fancy. old hotel.
It was Decatur. It's not that fancy. But.
It was super cute, and Adrian captured the moment of all of their shocked faces of when the bed just went poof.
The
and
bed
it collapsed.
shattered. The
but
frame
it's not,
fell apart.
But it wasn't just
Straight
one.
up.
It wasn't just one bed. Oh no, they tried to do it a second time on another bed, right?
So they broke the wooden bed at first. And then the bride was really determined to get this, you know, the iconic bridesmaids in their robes on the bed picture. Yep. So they broke one bed because there was like 12 of them. And then the bride was so determined to get this photo that she went to another room on another bed and attempted the exact same thing and broke that one too. And that was a metal bed. So...
We were on the way out. It was Rachel and I had just finished hair and makeup, and we're like walking out like, okay, bye guys, as they're taking the picture, and we watch it happen, and then we're like, okay, bye, have fun.
So that's not so much a horror story as just a really, it's a good memory. Oh, I'm sure, okay. Not for us, we were thoroughly entertained, but I'm sure the bride was completely devastated. Anyways.
The picture?
Oh yeah, I got the picture. Of course I got the picture. Do you doubt me? You doubt me? What's wrong with you? All right, anyone else? All right.
Okay. So in October, one of the most busy wedding months in Texas, because that's when the weather's nice, Bouquet Designs had 6 weddings in one weekend.
Woo!
We have 2
Congratulations.
designers.
That's awesome.
And we got all of them done. We had a very tight schedule. We all had to go to the first one, and then we had to split in teams and go to the second and third and fourth one, and then we had to come back together for the 5th and 6th one. So the very first one we go to, we get there, and we're like, wait, there are like 20 more tables here than they said there were going to be. So the sister did the planning. So I would suggest getting a wedding planner. So the sister planned the wedding, and she came up, and she was like, oh, well, we'll just run to Central Market and get some more flowers for our table. And we were like, no, you're not, because you're going to tag us in all your stuff, and they're going to look at that stuff and be like, where'd you get that? It doesn't match any of your other stuff. So the owner ran back to the shop, got all the extra flowers that we had, and we put stuff on all the extra 20 tables. And we're like, oh, we'll just write you a check later. It took us 3 weeks to get payment for those extra tables, but we did get them, and the bride was very happy. But that is one of the most puckering things that can happen to you at your first wedding of 6 in one day.
Hey, but congrats on the 6 weddings on one day or one weekend. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, that was. We were all really stressed if we were going to be able to do it, but it actually went really great. We have some really good people that come in part-time and support us, so. Woo. It's really awesome.
Congrats.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so this was actually my very first wedding as a wedding planner. I am walking from the ceremony site to the reception site, and I get a bridesmaid who comes running up to me, and she's like, Renee, Katie needs you. Katie needs you. The bride's name was Katie, and I was like, okay, let's go check it out. So we walk in there to see her maid of honor laying flat on a bench, and they're all trying to zip up her dress. And I'm not joking. You can't make this up. And she was like, I don't know what happened because it zipped up just fine last night. It was perfect. And I was like, honey, there's like 2 inches of space. There's no way this dress is gonna fit you. And she was like, I don't know. And so luckily they kind of like all started laughing, and thinking quick on your toes is truly a wedding planner like necessity. And we sat there, and I said, okay, let me take 2 seconds. And I walk over and I pull out of my rolling emergency kit, I pull out needle and thread, and I'm going to start to sew her into this dress. And I try sewing her into the dress, and it doesn't work. It pops. There's no way. It just was too much. Come to find out, she intentionally ordered her dress 2 sizes too small. Because she had all these big grandiose plans that she was going to lose weight for her best friend's wedding. And that's an awful idea. Don't ever let your bridal party do that.
We're all in agreement, all right? We're all shaking our heads.
I've had a similar thing happen at a wedding, so this is not an uncommon occurrence.
No. So at that point, I had to give the choice to this maid of honor that she either I located another dress. It was about 30 minutes away, and I told her she could either get that dress. She had to have somebody go and get it and bring it back. Or she could become a guest, because in pictures and everything, those pictures are going to last forever. That video is going to last forever. It's not the bride's fault that she ordered her dress too small. So needless to say, she got the dress. She was not happy about it. She was super upset, but you know what? It was a strapless dress and it fit just fine. And she didn't tug on that dress one time trying to pull it up. So it was fine. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that, I'm good. I can handle anything that you throw at me. Oh yeah. Right. Oh yeah.
There we go. I'm going to say one. We'll do, Reagan, do you have one as well?
Mine are all not as fun. They're not day of stuff. It's all earlier. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can pass the mic down. Yeah, we'll give you a chance to share a horror story, but I'm gonna give. So mine isn't super horrible, but as far as virgin weddings, so my first wedding is one of those things that you keep shooting, you're trying to get as many photos as possible, and then halfway through the reception, you run out of batteries. Yep. So for any wedding photographers who are paying attention to this Q&A, buy extra batteries. It's a good investment. It's a good thing it was free.
I mean, mine's not as fun as y'all's, and mine's a personal mistake, so more embarrassing. I was doing an oversized seating chart for a couple, and I wrote the wrong groom's name. I mean, thankfully, I always send draft photos. To the bride, and her planner. So I'm here's, it's coming along. And they're that's not my fiance's name. So scraped it off, fixed it. It was fine. It's you just get an emote. You can misspell anything when you're doing calligraphy. I've misspelled my own name. It's I don't know, you just get in a groove and you're going, and then I'm oh yeah, his name's Kevin. And no, that's not his name, but that's what it said. And so I fixed it. It was good. But it was embarrassing for me. But you live and you learn, and you triple check everything now. So
All right. Well, this was a good time. All right. Wedding horror stories. I love it. Love it. All right, let's continue this tradition of fun, and let's go back to Miss Renee here. We have a question for you. The question is, do you plan destination weddings?
I do plan destination weddings. Destination weddings are so fun. I am always up for a challenge. Planning a wedding, the basic and the skeleton of planning a wedding is the same, truly. My process is the same, whether I'm in the same state, I'm in the same country, it just is. Being able to have been working in this industry for 10 years, the coolest thing is you make so many networking. I've met people all over the globe, people in Italy and Greece, and we did, I think a huge trend, correct me if I'm wrong, is really small elopement style weddings, but they're maybe 15 people, and they take the bride and the groom and 15 people to Greece, to Italy, to wherever. And being able to have connections in those places, I can plan it from afar. I build in times to, we'll go and we'll walk it and we'll, make sure that everything is good to go before it's go time. But yes, we plan destination weddings all the time, and the process is the same. And our job is to make sure that brides and grooms and their entire family and friends is enjoying themselves, and they're making memories that are going to last a lifetime. Nobody should be working on that day. Nobody should be, taking on this thing or making sure this gets done or making sure, anything. They should be sitting back and making memories with you, because it truly is cliche, but it goes so fast. You blink and it's over, and then it's done.
There we go. All right, great response. Let's see here. Let's go to flowers. Go back to the florist. All right. So here's a very interesting question.
Okay.
My wedding has blue. Mm-hmm. Are there naturally blue flowers besides blue bonnets? Because Texas, y'all.
Well, actually, you can pick blue bonnets. It's not illegal. No.
Oh, you're mistaken.
It's just looked down upon, but it's not illegal. But they're only like this big, so you can't really pick them and put them in anything. So there are a few naturally blue flowers. So if you plan to put blue in your wedding, just realize that they're not going to be focal flowers. Most blue flowers are only going to be accent flowers. You're going to have delphinium, blue thistle, blue hydrangea. So they're always going to be accents. You can dye flowers. We don't really recommend dyeing flowers because you never know what shade you're going to get. With the Pantone color of the year being blue, I know a lot of brides are going to have blue in their wedding. It's more of a neutral blue, like a gray blue. So there are a few berries that you can add in that are navy, and they actually add like a really lush, beautiful accent, especially with colors like blush, mustard, peach, burgundy. I know last year burgundy and blush, actually the past couple of years, burgundy and blush has been everywhere. But we are looking towards a more neutral trend this year, so it's going to be lots of what I call hidden neutrals, which are going to be like there's a rose called, what is it called? It's called Quicksand, and it's like a mauve-y rose, and it really just goes with everything. So yes, there are natural blue flowers. Yes, you can add blue into your flowers, and no, I don't recommend dyeing your flowers.
There we go. All right, Miss Rachel, you're next. Is there a cost difference between different hairstyles?
Yeah, speaking for myself, yes.
Okay, should there be? How about that?
To each is their own, to be completely honest. So for me, and for any bride out there that is watching and listening, do not be afraid to ask your hairstylist, what their starting prices are for hair. Me personally, again, this is just me, I am not going to charge you like $200 to curl your hair. Just saying. So, just make sure you feel free to ask all the questions that you need to, and make sure that you click with your hairstylist when you are doing your consultations. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. We actually have a Facebook Live question. We're going to go back to Kristen over here. Do you have experience with purple orchids in bouquets?
Yes, we do. We love orchids. Orchids, especially purple, are
orchids right here. I mean, they're not purple. But.
So these ones are Phalaenopsis. The purple ones are usually Cymbidium, so they're just a little bit smaller. But yes, purple orchids. Orchids are actually, you wouldn't know this, but they're actually a really, really durable flower. They last a long time out of water. You can wire them and put them all over your beautiful bouquet.
And they're pretty.
They're beautiful, and they're very waxy.
Awesome. And then we have, and that came from Oliver. Thank you, Oliver, for the question. And he actually has another question as well. This goes to the wedding planner. Do you have connections in Destin? I'm assuming Florida.
I do have connections in Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, I have some connections in Florida. I also, depending on, specific areas and stuff like that, I have a really big network of wedding professionals that we are all attached throughout the United States. And if I can't find something, I go to them and they will help me source it. So we make sure that you're totally covered.
There we go. Awesome. Victoria is speaking of trends, Pantone colors of the year and all that stuff. Is there any makeup trends going on right now in the world of makeup and weddings?
Yes, I would say in weddings, a more natural look is kind of always trending. I think the number one thing I hear from brides is that they don't wear a lot of makeup normally and they still want to look like themselves on their wedding day, which is another reason it's important to have a trial. I know I keep going back to that, but everyone has a different definition of what a natural look is like. So for someone like me or someone that wears makeup every day, a more natural look could be like 20 products. But for someone that is, never wears any makeup, oh, I'm wearing a bunch right now, but I don't look like I'm wearing that much, So it's about having the right products. I would say the biggest trend I've noticed is pink nude looks. So having kind of a pink toned nude look. Shimmer on the lids is always in. Dewy skin is really in right now. So I think for a long time in the makeup industry, we saw airbrush foundation as a trend, which when you get down to the nitty gritty, it's not that different than traditionally applied cosmetics. It just depends on the formulas. That's really where the difference lies, is whether it's a water-based or a silicone-based formula. And of course, the molecular weight of the product is going to affect how it applies and how it appears in photos. So that's one reason you want to make sure you go to someone that knows what they're doing, because different products are going to look different. They're photographed differently. They look different on different skin textures. But I would say dewy skin, shimmer, subtle shimmer, not glittery shimmer, subtle shimmer, and pink tone nudes are really the biggest trends I'm seeing in the last 6 to 9 months.
Great. Awesome.
Was that like another language to you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. That's what I thought.
Something about skin tones. I don't know. Anyway, so here's a video question. Number one tip I would give for those who are interested in purchasing a videographer is making sure that they include or have a high definition audio, right? Audio makes the biggest difference, especially when it comes to capturing your vows, capturing the toast. A lot of videographers can get by just by adding cinematic music and, making it look pretty. But honestly, like the real story, the audio makes a huge difference. And that's something that I try to teach my videographer apprentices is not only do we capture the audio from the wedding itself, but we also have access to a whole database of sound effects. So, for example, in our B-roll or background roll, for those who don't know, if we have a stream, if, for example, what's that one super famous? They has the wedding venue that had the springs, right? They're everywhere, right? So the springs, with its name, obviously, has running water usually in all of their venues, and so we try to capture part of that, and we add in a water river sound to make you when you rewatch the video, you're fully immersed into your wedding day once again. So very cool. Moving on. Let's go to Miss Reagan. Let's see here.
Oliver's got some jokes.
Yeah, he does. Don't hand her the red mic.
Oh. All right. So, Miss Reagan, do you only work with brides in DFW? I guess this person is not in the area, but.
No. So the good thing about calligraphy is I have worked with brides all over the U.S. I've done, California, New Jersey, New York. It's you just send me the envelopes and then I calligraph on them and I mail them back to you. And then Same with day of paper. So if you have a menu that you want everybody's name printed at the top to kind of double as their place card, you can send those to me or just have your stationer send them straight to me. And then I will just calligraph them and then send them back. So I can work with brides from anywhere.
All right, very nice. Back to the florist. Here's just more of a curious question than anything. What is the most exotic flower you've ever incorporated into a wedding?
Okay, so
Great question. Great question.
200 weddings, which one was the most exotic? So I would say one that was really popular. It is really exotic. It's from Africa. It's called a king protea. One of my favorites is the white one. I'm trying to remember what the name is. It has ice in it.
How do you even get a flower from Africa?
From your wholesaler.
There's like airplanes. There's this thing called Amazon.
It's a special order item. If you have a chance to Google it, it's a really interesting looking flower, but it's usually a focal flower. It's about this big. It's huge. They have pink. They have white. I think they have like a burgundy one.
But do they do okay in like, well, I mean, do they do okay in like wherever you're going? So like Africa weather versus...
So Africa weather is a lot like Texas weather.
Okay.
But also like which part of Africa? You have like the Sahara, you have the Congo, you have South Africa.
But yes, so King Protea does really well in Texas. It's kind of like a cactus. Yeah, it's a desert flower. Yeah.
It's more of a bohemian, like a lot of
Yes.
Because
the Bohemian style is very textural. So is that a good word? Textural? Okay. So it's very textural. So there's all sorts of stuff in Bohemian bouquets. There's feathers and flowers and ribbons and all sorts of textural flowers.
Fun.
Yay.
Yeah. All right. Back to the wedding planner. I guess there's lots of fresh brides who have lots of questions for the planner. Where is speaking of exotic, where is the most exotic wedding that you've ever planned?
Oh my goodness. The most exotic. I collaborated with a girl that she actually is in the wedding industry. And she got married in Santorini, and on again, it was that small wedding. It was literally a photographer, her soon-to-be husband, and I think they only brought like 3 or 4 people with them. And it was literally, they hiked up in her wedding dress, and we're not talking like, we're talking a gorgeous custom wedding dress, and she hiked up and got married on the bluffs overlooking the entire Santorini Bowl. And it was absolutely incredible. It was super, super incredible. And my favorite, I am a very out of the box thinker. So when somebody comes to me and they're like, so I have this really crazy idea, I'm like, nope, I'm sure I've either thought of it or I'm going to get super excited when you tell me, because I love out of the box. Nothing is, too crazy. It's, if you can think it, we can do it.
Wow. Yeah, Victoria got chills when you were talking about the Santorini wedding. All right, so this question goes to both hair and makeup, so whoever wants to. But the question is, at what point should I consider getting a second stylist or second makeup artist?
So if you have 3 or more in your party, I will require you to have an assistant, which we add on for a fee, which just covers them coming with us. And basically the most important reason to have that is for time's sake, because technically, like, I could do 4 people in 4 hours if you have, only 4 people in your wedding party, which is not as common these days. We're seeing a lot of large wedding parties where we need at least 2, if not a third, kind of like a swing, like someone that does hair and makeup, so that we can have them fill in wherever they need. But with a big wedding party, if you're only at the venue for, from 11 a.m. to maybe 2 p.m. before your wedding, which is kind of what we see an average of, you definitely need 2 people. If you're doing your whole wedding party, especially with mother of the bride, mother of the groom, it's just less stress on everyone. I would say 4 people, you need 2 stylists each. Because that's going to make our job easier and you less stressed. And no one wants to be stressed out on their wedding day, and we don't want to be running behind because then the photographer is mad at us for, and the wedding planner's really mad. So we don't want it to be our fault. So on the safe side, having multiples is always the best. Do you have anything to add to that, Rachel? Okay.
Rachel says ditto. All right. Well, this is this. I guess this question comes from me because I'm just curious. So we'll do just down the line because okay. So I'm the only single person in this. What do you call it? Brain trust. This panel. Yeah, there you go. So this is a curious question, and I might get slaughtered for this. So stay tuned to watch things get thrown to Adrian's face. But some of you guys have. They're getting ready. Some of you guys have started your career in the wedding industry after you've already, been married or eloped. So going back, is there anything now that you're, connected with all these wedding professionals now and having the knowledge of the industry that you have now, is there anything you would do for your own wedding that you would go back and change?
I feel like this is such like a loaded question because the trends are always changing. So the fact that we're like so close to the trends and can see like, oh, like now the big like charcuterie spreads. Have you guys seen that where people will do like a whole table?
Oh, my sister did that for Christmas.
Yes,
yeah,
like so stuff like that is really trending. Like there's so much like new ideas come out. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had that at my wedding. Like the bridal bouquets being preserved. I didn't even know that was a thing when I got married. I'm pretty sure I still have my bouquet somewhere. The number one thing I would go back and do different is I really relied on recommendations from my friends and didn't so much make my own decisions because I was planning a wedding long distance, which was hard. And I did have a planner, but she was not like a full-time planner. It was more coordinating vendors. We did get recommendations from her and she did a lot of the design, but it was not like a full service planning situation. I would definitely, what Adrian was saying about photos, I would go with a more classic look. I love my wedding pictures, don't get me wrong. And at the time, the more moody, dark style was very trendy. I love my pictures. I don't want my photographer to see this and think I hate them, but I do think that I wasn't thinking about what my pictures are going to look like 20 years from now. So that is the one thing I would go back and just consider differently. And I think I just took everyone else's recommendations because I was so overwhelmed that I just went with, oh, you had Costa Mesa as your, I don't even know if that's a restaurant. You had so-and-so as your caterer. I'm going to have them because you already had them and it was good. That kind of thing. So I didn't, what? Yeah, I basically planned my wedding off of one of our friends who had recently gotten married and stuff that worked for them. I was like, cool, we're going to do that too because it was easier to do long distance. So I guess I would shop around more and rely on a wedding planner more.
So wedding planner and taking more time to make your own choices and thinking about what your photos are going to look like 20 years from now. Good lessons. Awesome. Thank you.
I probably would have allocated my budget differently. I think I didn't put as big of an emphasis on my photos as I should have, would have, could have. Your photos truly are that's your wedding. That's all you have. If you do a video, then you have the video, but spend the money on the photos because that truly is what you're going to have 20 years down the road. I definitely would have, I'm a detail oriented girl, so I did have a lot of details, but I wish I would have had more details because the smallest details make the biggest impression.
So focus on the details and more emphasis on photos. Shout out to me.
Yeah, focus on Adrian, and as much as I don't want to blow up your head more, yes.
Right? I know.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So, being that I've been married since 2008,
Shout out to Steve.
Shout out to Steve. I love you, honey. I think you're still watching. I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah, splurge on a photographer because I'm pretty sure like my dad was the videographer. Love you, Dad, if you're watching this. But I'm also pretty sure we have no idea what happened to that footage. So I don't have my wedding video. Yeah.
From your dad?
From my dad.
From your dad?
From my dad.
Oh.
Like, I'm pretty sure like the
Classic like cassette.
I don't know. I don't know. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, definitely one of those. I think my like hobby photographer grandfather took photos, and I have like a little book, like maybe this thick, of just like little 5x7s, nothing professional. And I just wish that I had a professional photographer to capture those very special moments. And that, I mean, because we also got married outside, we got married in a beautiful, beautiful botanical garden. And I remember it, but I kind of don't remember it because I was so busy stressing out about getting married. So, I mean, like not stressing about getting married, but you know, just the day in general. I love you, honey. Best decision ever.
Aww.
So what I would change, obviously now being a florist and the groom, I would change the groom, by the way.
She would change the groom, for those who didn't hear that. She would change that about her wedding.
Sorry, in-laws, if you happen to be watching. I love you very much. No, I love them very much, yes.
That's going to be like the first 3 seconds, like prior to the intro coming in. That's going to grab everyone's attention to watch the rest of the video. It's going to be great.
But I literally did not choose anything for my wedding. The only thing I chose was my dress. Everything else, because because I felt guilt because my wedding was being paid for by my in-laws. I was just like, y'all do what you want. I'm just along for the ride. So I didn't pick anything I wanted. And I regret that because I wouldn't have picked the colors. I wouldn't have picked the place. I wouldn't have picked. The only thing that was really good was the food. But so be particular. You think about yourself. I mean, it is a family thing, so you do have to keep other in mind. But it is important, like they said, you're going to want to remember this. And when you look back at your wedding photos and you're like, well, I didn't pick that. You know? So take your time, think about it, do your research. I definitely would have picked a different hair and makeup because, of course, my in-laws paid for me to go, and I went to an older lady, and so I got older lady hair and makeup. Oh. So I would have probably picked something a little more youthful, a little more edgy because I'm not an old lady yet. So I guess I would have changed everything.
All right.
I actually just got married pretty recently, just like a year and a half ago. So I'm still I'm still in like everything was amazing phase. Really, I think though, just finding out what is important to you and sticking with that. Like I had been in fashion and like I knew that I wanted like a brand new dress. Like I wanted the freshest dress I could get. Like if it wasn't on the runway yet, I wanted it. So I think just finding out what is important to you and kind of sticking with that. And then if you need to like compromise with your mom or your in-laws on other things, just make sure it's not like what you're going to hold near and dear. Like there was no way I was going to compromise on my dress. Like, sorry, it just wasn't going to happen. And then like I had my venue super picked out like way before we were even engaged, but that's okay. So I think just staying true to you too. It's easy to fall down like the Pinterest rabbit hole and being like, this is super trendy and this is amazing, but is that you and is that what you're going to love? Because I think being part of the wedding industry has made me realize I can appreciate all of the really trendy stuff and think it's amazing, but that's not my style. Like I think like boho style is amazing and it's beautiful, but like that's not me. And so it would have been like out of character for me to have a boho wedding. And so I think keeping true to yourself is just going to be the most important thing when you're planning.
Awesome. Great advice. Great words. And the only thing I would change is to find a girlfriend first, so that way I can get married and then have all these regrets later. With that being said, we are about that time. Let's do one more. So we'll start off with Reagan and just move our way back. So from your specific industry, what is the number one tip that you would give a bride and or groom specific to what you do? And then we'll go down the line.
Plan in advance. I've gotten, a lot of calls like, oh, my wedding's on Saturday and I don't have place cards. Well, it's really hard to accommodate. And then you're going to get a rush fee because, like I was saying earlier, you can't rush calligraphy. So when someone does a rush order, what that means is they're doing calligraphy until like 10 p.m. And so that's what the extra charge is for, because they're going to work like 14-hour days to get your order done. So I think just planning for the time for calligraphy. And then as far as stationery goes, just look at a bunch of different stationery suites. There's so many like amazing stationery designers, and you can go more modern or more romantic, like all the deckled edges that just make my heart melt. But just find your style. I know we were talking about deckled edges earlier. So just find your style and then give yourself plenty of time to put it all together and let your vision come together.
Cool. So recap. So number one is just start earlier. Time.
I think time management.
There you go. Awesome.
Okay, so the number one tip I would give a bride and a groom is to make sure you have a realistic budget when you come to meet your vendors. Specifically for florists, we get a lot of Pinterest pictures and vision boards and all sorts of stuff, and you do your research, kind of get a good, so Google's there. It's easy to find what people charge for stuff. Just kind of get an idea. Every flower shop owner is going to work with you no matter what your budget is. But if you have a budget, it's going to make the process a lot easier. They're going to be able to know whether you can use this premium flower or if we need to use a beautiful, more cost-effective flower. So when you go, make sure you know where you want to cut and where you want to spend.
All right. So know your budget. Love it. Specific to your industry, what is your number one tip to a bride and or groom?
Specific to my industry, to the bride, I would probably say do not chop off your hair. Do not color your hair like 3 days prior to your wedding. It won't end well. Yes, definitely no major changes. Wait till like after the wedding. Usually that's when a lot of the brides do make the big chop. But yeah, definitely that for sure.
So no major changes prior to the wedding day. Love it. Cool.
My biggest tip is to truly soak up every single second of your engagement. It should be the best time of your life. You should look back on your engagement time just as fondly as you look back on your wedding day. Truly, that's one of the most important reasons why you should hire a wedding planner. Just because it goes so fast. And if you can have somebody that has put in 10 years of experience and time researching and everything like that, they will save you as much money as they're worth. I will always, without a doubt, tell every single bride, I will save you my value. If I don't, then you get money back. That's just knowledge. Knowledge is time, and time is something that people don't have.
Great. So enjoy your engagement. Enjoy the process. As stressful as it is, it should be enjoyable. Doesn't have to be stressful if you hire a wedding planner. So enjoy your engagement. Love it. Cool.
I would say my number one tip as far as the makeup industry goes is don't be afraid to invest in your makeup for the day of. I think sometimes makeup can be the neglected category, and I myself was guilty of this. I did not hire a makeup artist for my wedding day, mostly because I felt weird hiring. I didn't really trust anyone to do my makeup, if I'm being quite honest. But I do think that there's a difference in quality of how your photos turn out when you have a professional. It also takes a lot of the stress out of the big day because you're not having to worry about doing it yourself. A lot of brides say, oh, I can just do it myself. And then they end up messing up something. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to do a wing on your eyeliner, but sometimes it just doesn't turn out right. And then you end up doing it 10 times. And it seems like whenever you want something to look perfect, those are the times that you struggle. So let me do it so that you don't have to stress out. I think people sometimes feel like investing in the makeup side of things is scary, or it's like being extra or being too bougie, and it's something you don't need to do, but it really does. And Adrian's nodding his head as the photographer. It really does make a big difference in how the quality of your photos turn out for your big day. And I think also sorry, this is like a two-part thing. If you're worried about the cost, makeup artists will work with you. We did have a bride come to us recently that said, like, look, I can only pay X, Y, Z for my makeup. What can you do? And, you know, we have connections, we have apprentices, we have people that we can work with you to where you can get that look you're wanting on a different budget. So it just kind of depends on what your budget is, and don't be afraid to ask if we can work with you.
There you go. So invest. Don't be scared to invest.
It's just as important as the photography. Not just as important, but it's just as important as investing in like a good florist or a good caterer. Like, it's still an aspect of your wedding, and a really bad makeup look could ruin everything.
I've had that happen. I had a bride spend $5,000 on her wedding dress, and she did her own makeup. And she cried when she got her photos back because she hated her photos, and it was not her photographer's fault. She didn't like the way that she looked in them. And if she would have hired a makeup artist and a hair artist, she would have been 1,000 times happier.
There you go. And then as far as my number one tip, and for me, yes, this is specific to photo and video, but this actually applies to all wedding vendors, which is part of the reason why I made the effort to make this panel happen for all of you who are watching. My number one tip for all brides and grooms is find the vendor that you want and need that specifically works in the wedding industry. Having your cousin Ed, who is a photographer that does like skateboarding pictures or sports photos, is not going to do the job that you need him to do for your wedding day. And the same thing with hair, with makeup. Just because they are in that industry doesn't mean that they are specifically trained for weddings, right? Even with wedding planning is different than just an event coordinator. And so this applies to all vendors. Make sure that you find the, whoever you're looking for, make sure that they specifically specialize in weddings. So that's my number one tip. And on that note, so let's go ahead and let's just wrap up with any specials that we might have. I'll go ahead and kick things off. So here at AI Media, we have some really sick specials going on right now. When you book more than one department, I think my favorite one is the fact that if you book either photo or video, as well as hair and makeup, so 3 out of our 4 departments, you get a free trial, a free bridal session, and 50% off engagement photos, as well as we have other secret deals that we'll be releasing throughout the wedding booking season. But right now, I think that's my favorite. So, Victoria, have anything going on specifically for makeup?
I was just going to say that's a really good deal, because then how I talked about getting your trial hair and makeup done before your bridals, since we all work together and we all work in the same studio, it's a great one-stop shop. So you're not having to go to your hairstylist and then drive to get your makeup done and then drive to meet your photographer for your bridals. So we like to just take care of it. And one day I do your makeup while Rachel does your hair, and then you meet with Adrian for your bridal portrait. So it's really straightforward. I'm all about simplicity. Rebecca too as well. We do have multiple photographers on staff. So I agree. Yes, that.
I am offering through, so typically engagement season is like Thanksgiving Day, actually, through really randomly, but February 21st. I don't know why it's the 21st and not the 14th, but it is the 21st. So through February, the end of February, I'm doing 20% off full service and 10% off of partial planning. And that is an incredible deal. So I would love to chat with you.
Yes. What Adrian and Victoria said.
Can't take you anywhere, Rachel.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Thank you.
Ditto. Thank you. Yes. No, but for real. So yeah, what Adrian and Victoria said. And also when you go through AI media, it is the one-stop shop, but at least you also know that we work really, really well together. So it's not like
entertainment is included.
Yes. Sometimes. But at least I know that when I work with Victoria, like we know how to work together, which can be scary for a bride to hire, hairstylist A from somewhere else and then another makeup artist from a different somewhere
else. It can be
else.
scary for us too, because I have been on location with hairstylists I'm not familiar with, and the atmosphere is just not as fun to work in because it's not like you're competing, but you are kind of competing for their time almost, where we can work on people at the same time because, if Rachel's pulling their head, I can work with that because I'm used to it. But,
I'm also used to her saying, Rachel, stop.
Yeah, like we work really well together. So it's a little bit harder when you're using two different companies because the familiarity isn't there, and it can be kind of awkward for us as the vendors when you get there and you're having to work with these people you don't even know. And yeah.
Yeah. Ditto.
Which is why we have the super friends here at this table. So
Yay!
All right, move along.
Moving along. Yes, Oliver, there will be links to all these vendors somewhere.
Yes.
Cool.
So I'm a florist, so you know what's getting ready to come up, right? Valentine's Day, y'all. Woo! So you guys,
where we celebrate
good
St. Valentine,
boyfriends,
right? Good old Catholic
good
tradition.
husbands, bad boyfriends, and bad husbands. Come see us and get your Valentine's flowers. Well, look, if you're bad, you need to make up for it. Bring your butt in and get some flowers. From Africa, Florida, Costa Rica. Also,
Dallas.
If you're going in for a trial makeup and hair and pictures with Adrian, if they recommend you to Bouquet Designs and we book you, we will give you a portrait bouquet so that you could take a couple of pictures before the wedding. Yay!
For the bridal session.
Yes.
All right, so y'all heard that, right? Y'all get a free bridal session bouquet.
It's not gonna be your big bouquet, just so you know.
But it's for your bridal session.
It's gonna be it'll be a smaller version. They'll put your rings with it and stuff. I don't know what they do, but so
that's amazing.
So
I just found out about that now. So thank you. Thank you, Bouquet Designs. That's awesome. That is awesome. Cool. Thank you for that. Yeah. Last but not least.
Yes. So through February, if you book your envelope calligraphy with me, you will get either your vows calligraphed after your wedding. I'll calligraph those so you can frame them, or lyrics from your first dance, or any sort of poem that can fit on an 8x10. So they make really beautiful gifts, anniversary gifts, anything like that. But that'll be included if you book your envelope calligraphy by the end of February.
Calligraphy and then get your vows calligraphied for free. Goes
for free.
On an 8x10 until February 1?
The end of February.
End of February. So February 29th. So luckily for you guys, you have an extra day for this special this year only. This special only comes around once every 4 years. All right, guys. Well, that's our show. Thank you for tuning in to our live show. Please share this video. We'll get a YouTube, a high-quality YouTube out soon. And what's up?
Rachel and I from the hair and makeup department, we're giving away $75 in products for.
I didn't approve of this.
Yes, you did. They're not from your business. Okay, so we're giving away $75 in hair products and makeup. So if you tag a bride and share this video, we're going to do that drawing probably tomorrow night. So you have a chance to win, and you can either give it to the bride that you tagged or keep it for yourself.
And how will they know? Are we going to do a live announcement?
We're going to tag you in a post if you win.
So look for that tag from Victoria, I guess, and or Rachel, and or me, I guess. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any further questions, please post them, and then we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We'll also post all of our websites and links to our social media pages, as well as our emails. Because again, if you have more specific questions for any of these specific vendors, you can go ahead and email. Great. Victoria's going to tag everyone, and we'll get the emails posted in the description as well. Cool. Thank you guys. You have a good night, and happy wedding planning.